At first, when I was a young child, I was drawing, making little scribbles and things like that. But I liked the walls in my bedroom, and they seemed quite ideal, so I was really not caught drawing on the walls, but I was gradually given pencils which could be easily washed off. In other words, I did some drawings on the walls, but they didn't survive. And my mother took a great interest in what a good friend of hers had to say. And she encouraged my mother to encourage me to do as much as I could. So I had an early encouragement from this neighbor who was so good. I started out with oil paint and watercolor because acrylic did not exist. Acrylic came along afterwards. And I very soon realized that acrylics were the medium which I liked. My mark is all virtually acrylic. I used painting knives, I used brushes, of course, and when the opportunity came, I get a finger in there too, just to push the color over a little where it should be, or to get a gradation effect, Once I got going on it, I had to get it done. It just came out naturally, and I just used whatever was at hand. In the early days, I did have scrapbooks, which through my mother, I guess, she would see that I had paper to work on, and the other materials I would have were canvas, of course, for painting. What we used to call cerulean blue. There it is there. See how different they are? They're both considered blue, of course. Now, I should clean that off here. And I'll go to my red now, which is one red here. I'll give it a little bit of a stir here, like this here. And, oops. And I'll put some out. There we are there. Now, some people put them out in a certain order, warm colors together and cool colors together. We consider red as being a warm color. Blue is a cold color. These two colors are cold. Now, if we had a yellow out, which I'm going to put out now, and this is called yellow ochre. That is actually a pure yellow. I was putting out the white. Now white is quite an important color to artists. The white is an agent for tinting. In other words, that makes your color obviously a lighter color. Now what I'm going to do, first of all, to show you, often I just start by putting a base color over either the whole thing or only areas. Supposing I feel that I want to start with a yellowish color. Well, you see what I'm doing here now? I'm taking the white from its source area there, and I'm doing this with it here. Now I will maybe make it a lighter color by adding water to it, like this here. Now this is thin paint. It's water. It's kind of watery, obviously, isn't it? And now I decided to just sort of do this, just see what happens with it. If I start putting some darker elements like this here, what happens to it? It gets a little bit more interesting, eh? See what I'm doing? You know, it's just coming to be all. Now, if I add a little this same color here, and I add a little bit of blue to it, as I'm doing here now, I do this to it like this here. This is what happens to that yellowy color. See what it is now? It's a greeny color now. I think that might work with this. What I'm going to do is use it sort of as a drawing agent too, you see. I'll do this maybe, and then like this maybe. You see how I'm working with my mind, taking in the whole canvas, not just one little area there. See, so I'm transforming that yellow into something else. Now the colors are still very watery. Perhaps a darker version of that now. But adding a bit more blue to it, like this here. See? And I'm starting to do some drawing. See? Just to get things further developed. I'm just sort of experimenting now, but I'm getting there. I can neutralize that green color by adding a bit of red to it. What happens to it? A dull color. Look at it. Is it black? No, it's not black. I changed my brush. It's a smaller. I started this just because I was working in a background color. Now I'm getting to be a little bit more precise now, and I'll see what happens here. I didn't have any preconceived, no. Now you can see these drips. Don't worry about them too much. They'll work out all right, because eventually you'll be painting much thicker, and you'll just. Now I'm going to work this color into over here. See, we're going to. Now supposing I do this here. I'm going to mix up something again, blue and a little red there. Now, that's going to be the basis for some tonality in here. This is a tone color, it's a grade color, but you see what's happening? You're having this deeper tone here is in the family of the original color. You see? So what happens? Don't you agree? There is harmony here, isn't there, eh? Supposing I put it in here like this here, over that green. You see the effect? That green has a velvety effect. I'm sort of getting a little pattern going here, a little sort of dot forms here, just to contrast with this one here. I didn't know it was actually, I didn't plan it, but they have this here and this here. So I'm putting this down just to get rid of the white in a way. At the stage where I'll stand back. this central area here is quite a good area of the painting for me. And then I put this in here, and it's sort of starting to gel here. Almost a circular form coming in here. So now, this blue here works in contrast to the hot color here, the cool color here. So I'm concerned with a movement in my canvas. So these are very important, you see. This directional thrust here, a rhythm is something which moves. You can have a direction, a flow. Yeah. There's a rolling form. But I did introduce a clipping to implant that a certain message, and it's called collage. And I used that to advantage. I did some rather good things with that. Well, the abstract is something which started in the 80s. Most people try to see representational shapes. An abstract lets the viewer start. I think a lot of my work is subconscious. You know, it comes out. I know that I use certain colors over and over again. And that tends to suggest something, doesn't it? I could get those children going very easily, because children just love color, don't they? You just have to put these things on, and from then on it's their game, and they don't require any teaching at all. It just comes often so naturally. It is refreshing to me to see them get doing things like that. Thank you.